everybody. This is Bryan O'Keefe, head coach of Team USA and one of the coaches at Jacksonville State University. In a previous tip, we used the ball spinner to help us sand down a bowling ball. So what we have here is we went out in the lanes, the player tried it, and you know what? It was just too much surface for that bowling ball. And so we want to bring it back in and use the ball spinner and go the opposite way and see if shining up that bowling ball helps make it perform a little better. So what we're going to do is go through the processes and the steps to use that polish in order to help shine this bowling ball back up. So once again, in the previous tip, if you want to get a little closer, I talked about how sometimes we can use some paper towels to put them in the holes if it's a previously drilled bowling ball. I think this helps specifically when you're using polish because we don't want to get that polish all in the holes as much. So just ripping pieces of paper towel and sticking them in the holes will really help go a long way to the cleanup once we're all done. So much like the dulling down of a bowling ball, we're going to break this down into the four sides of the bowling ball. The top, the bottom, and then the right side and the left side. So all we're going to do here is use a towel that's been used for polishing in the past, and we're just going to rub a little bit. You don't need to do too much, but we're going to rub a little bit of ball polish along the surface of the bowling ball before we get started, so that way we're not trying to change it once the spinner is on. So just like the dulling of the bowling ball, we want to make sure we have a little bit of pressure with our fingertips and use just a little squirt of water. That's almost like a trick of the trade. Some people aren't aware, but that water helps kind of use the friction and helps bind that pad and help the towel sort of adhere with the surface of the ball and can help really cause that friction. You know, the polish is really going to be, friction is going to help that polish really gloss up that bowling ball to the best of our abilities. So once we have that little piece and we've used like the more used part of that towel, we want to go more to the fresher part of that towel, and then once again use that pressure of our fingertips and go up and down the sides of that bowling ball to help it have a little bit of shine to it. So now we're going to flip that ball over 180 degrees to the bottom and go through that process all over again. So we're going to use that polish and put a little bit on the bottom, rub that polish in a little bit, start the ball spinner up, use a little bit of pressure from our fingertips and a little bit of water. From there you can really start to see how that ball will naturally want to shine up and get back to its naturally glossy finish. The shining part of the side of the bowling ball may take a little longer and a little more sort of fine-tuning than the dulling down. For whatever reason, it just takes the cover stock a little bit longer, maybe a little more friction is needed to help really shine up that bowling ball. So you just have to be a little more patient. But you can really see the difference from what that used to look like. So from there, we're then going to take the side to side. So we make sure those paper towels aren't sticking out, and we go through that process all over again. A little bit of polish, rub it in, turn on that ball spinner, and go up and down with a little bit of water, up and down the sides, until we start to notice that we see the shine. Then from there, we can flip that 180 degrees, get the other side of the bowling ball, and go through the last process. So once again, this is going to take a little bit longer to shine up the bowling ball than it did to dull, but we're only into it for probably 2.5, 3 minutes right now, so it's not really taking all that long to do. So just a little bit of patience, a little bit of TLC can go a long way. So from there, we had our bowling ball that had a smooth little 500 grit all over it, and now you can see we have a nice little gloss, more back to that factory finish. So take this tip out on the lanes and see if it can work for you.